You know that feeling. You really want to get your head around something important, something that could genuinely make a difference, but just thinking about wading through jargon-filled articles,
Hmm.
it's exhausting.
Totally. That's why we're here, really.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into passive income. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but what does it actually mean for you?
Yeah, we've done the sifting for you, looking at some great source material to cut through the noise. We want to get to the heart of what passive income is and, crucially, how you might actually generate it.
Think of this as your shortcut to getting properly informed without the usual overwhelm.
Precisely. A
Yeah.
clear path to understanding a really key piece of financial well-being.
Okay, so let's unpack passive income first, because I mean, the name itself can be a bit misleading, can't it? It's not like cash just magically
No,
appears.
definitely not magic. The sources we looked at define it as earnings you get with minimal ongoing effort. That's the key part.
Right, unlike your regular job.
Exactly. Active income is that direct trade your time for money constantly. Passive income, well, the idea is it keeps generating revenue even when you're not, actively working on that thing right then.
Like planting a tree.
That's a great analogy, actually. You put in the work up front, planting, watering, maybe some pruning early on. But once it's mature, the apples keep coming year after year with relatively little input compared to the start.
Okay, got it. So our mission today is to really explore why this matters so much and then look at the actual ways, the tangible methods you can build these income streams.
Yep, we're pulling out the core insights from the material we reviewed, pasted text excerpts, specifically that detail why passive income is important in today's world and the different paths you can take.
Right. Let's start with the why. Why should you even care about passive income? The sources really drive home that it's, well, potentially life-changing. Financial freedom comes up first.
And it's fascinating how the sources frame this. It's about changing your fundamental relationship with money. When your basic living costs are covered by income that isn't tied to your 9 to 5.
Yeah. You get control.
Exactly. Control and autonomy. You're less dependent on that paycheck just to survive.
Which leads directly to the next big benefit, time flexibility. If you're not constantly trading hours for dollars,
Mhm.
suddenly you have more time.
Yeah, time for family, hobbies, travel, things you always say you'll do someday.
Or even just, learning something new, personal growth.
Right. The sources suggest this freedom from the constant grind can seriously boost your overall well-being. It creates space.
And then there's security. Let's
Yeah.
face it, life happens. People lose jobs, businesses have slow periods.
Mm.
Having multiple income streams, especially passive ones, acts like a buffer, a safety net. It's about not having all your eggs in one basket.
It really speaks to financial resilience, doesn't it? Relying on just one income source makes you vulnerable. Passive income diversifies things, protects you a bit from those economic shocks.
Okay, now this is where it gets really powerful for me. Wealth building. The sources talk about compounding when you reinvest passive income. That snowball effect.
Oh, absolutely. It starts small, but reinvesting those earnings means your money starts making its own money. It accelerates.
It's kind of amazing how even small amounts, reinvested consistently, can grow exponentially over time. It really can shorten the journey to, well, significant wealth.
That's the beauty of it. Your assets start working for you, creating this upward spiral. It's key for long-term financial independence.
And the dream for many early retirements. The sources point out that if your passive income covers your lifestyle costs,
The traditional retirement age suddenly becomes optional.
imagine that. Having the choice to step back from full-time work years earlier than planned, but still living comfortably.
Yeah, that really captures the ultimate goal for a lot of people pursuing this. Reaching a point where your assets are doing the heavy lifting.
Okay, so the why is pretty compelling. Financial freedom, time, security, wealth building, maybe even early retirement. Let's pivot to the how. How do you actually do it? Our sources cover a whole range of methods. First up, real estate.
Right, the classic. Tangible assets. The sources mention two main routes here. One is direct ownership buying rental properties.
So you become a landlord.
Essentially, yes. You collect
Yeah.
monthly rent, and if you find good tenants, maybe use a property manager, it can become relatively hands-off over time.
But there's finding tenants, maintenance.
Oh, for sure. There's work involved, especially up front. The other route mentioned is REITs, real estate investment trusts.
Ah, I've heard of those. Sort of like mutual funds, but for real estate.
Kind of, yeah. You buy shares in a company that owns and manages income-producing properties, maybe apartments, malls, offices, data centers even.
Hmm.
You get dividends without having to deal with tenants or leaky faucets.
So easier entry point, maybe.
Generally, yes. More liquid, too. So pros for real estate: steady income, potential appreciation for rentals. Cons:
Hmm.
high upfront cost for rentals, maintenance, property management fees. REITs avoid some of that, but have market risk.
Okay, moving away from physical property. Dividend stocks. This seems more straightforward, maybe. You buy shares in companies,
And if they make a profit, they might distribute some of it back to shareholders as dividends.
so you get paid, often quarterly, just for owning the stock.
That's the idea. It's income derived from the company's success. And, crucially, if you reinvest those dividends,
There's that compounding effect again.
exactly, it can significantly boost your total return over the long haul. Sources suggest it can sometimes even outperform just holding the stock without reinvesting.
The plus side seems to be accessibility, easy to start with a brokerage account, and that compounding potential is huge. But risks.
Definitely. Market risk is the big one. Stock prices go up and down, and companies aren't obligated to pay dividends. They can cut them or stop them entirely if finances get tight.
Right, no guarantees. Okay, what about this next one? Peer-to-peer lending. Sounds different, like being a mini bank.
Huh, sort of. You use online platforms. Lending Club, Prosper are examples mentioned to lend money directly to individuals or businesses. They pay you back with interest.
So potentially higher returns than just putting money in a savings account.
That's the main draw, according to the sources. But, and this is a big but, there's the risk of default. The borrower might not pay you back.
Ouch. And it's not like a bank deposit.
Correct. It's generally not FDIC insured. So if they default, you could lose your principal. Diversification is key here, lending small amounts to many different borrowers rather than a large amount to one.
Makes sense. Spread the risk. Okay, switching gears entirely. Creating digital products, ebooks, online courses, templates, that sort of thing.
Yes, this involves upfront creative effort, sometimes quite a lot, but once the product is made,
It can be sold over and over again with minimal extra work.
that's the potential beauty of it. Low ongoing costs, global reach via the internet. Think about an ebook. Write it once. Sell it for years. Some sources even gave examples where the first year's passive income dwarfed the initial time investment.
Wow. Okay, so pros, low startup cost usually, huge potential audience. Cons, definitely time consuming to create something good, and then you have to actually market it.
Marketing is absolutely crucial. You can have the best course in the world, but if no one knows about it,
It won't generate any income, passive or otherwise.
right, you need to build an audience or find ways to reach them.
Okay, next idea. Affiliate marketing. This is where you promote other people's products, right?
Exactly. Through a blog, YouTube, social media, you share a unique link. If someone buys through your link, you get a commission.
So the big advantage is you don't have to create the product yourself.
Correct. You leverage existing products. But similar to digital products, you still need to create content and build an audience that trusts your recommendations enough to click and buy.
Right, still requires effort in content creation and audience building. Okay, what about licensing your own creative work? Photos, music, art.
Yeah, if you have those skills, platforms like Shutterstock for photos or Audio Jungle for music, you upload your work.
And get paid royalties when someone uses it.
That's it. Passive income each time it's downloaded or licensed. The pro is that potential for ongoing royalties. The con, it's often very competitive, and you need high-quality work to stand out.
Gotcha. Then there are automated online businesses. The sources mention e-commerce using dropshipping or print on demand.
These models try to automate the inventory and fulfillment side. With dropshipping, you don't hold inventory, a third party ships it. Print on demand means products are only made when ordered.
So the idea is passive sales once it's all set up.
Potentially, yes, once the store's running smoothly. But the sources do warn that automated doesn't mean set and forget. Especially as you scale, you need to monitor things, handle customer service issues.
Right, it still needs oversight. Okay, finally, the perhaps less exciting but still valid options. High-yield savings accounts and CDs.
Yep, certificates of deposit. Definitely passive income, though usually on a smaller scale. You deposit funds, you earn interest.
Not going to make you rich overnight, probably.
Unlikely. But the pros are significant. Very low risk compared to most other methods we've discussed, and truly passive. You set it up, and the interest just accrues. It's a safe, simple way to get some passive return.
So, wow, we've covered a lot of ground there, from real estate and stocks to creating digital content and even just basic savings.
A really diverse range of strategies.
And I think a key takeaway weaving through all of this from the sources is that this isn't really a get-rich-quick thing, is it?
Almost never. There's usually that upfront investment. It might be time, it might be effort and skill building, or it might be significant capital.
You have to build the machine before it can run on its own, so to speak.
Well put. But the potential payoff, that long-term reward of more freedom, maybe retiring earlier, definitely greater financial security. That's what makes the initial effort worthwhile for so many people.
And just understanding these options, understanding why passive income matters and how it can be generated, that feels like a really crucial part of smart money management today.
Absolutely. It's about shifting from solely trading time for money to having your assets actively contribute to your income.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is looking back at all these different avenues, real estate, stocks, digital creations, lending, licensing, online businesses,
Yeah.
even savings, which one or maybe which combination kind of sparks your interest?
Yeah, reflecting on your own situation, your skills, what you enjoy doing, what resources you have right now, which path feels like it might be the most promising or just the most intriguing for you to explore further. Where could you start building your own path towards more financial independence?